Welcome to our Android Week with Alan Firstenberg in New York, Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia, Duke Carico in Tennessee, Michael Banks in Augusta, Georgia, and from Android Authority, Nate Swanner in Portland, Oregon. Our Android Week. Welcome everyone, great to have you with us. And I got my review copies, as promised, of the Nexus 4 and the Nexus 7, and we'll be discussing that today. Guys, this was totally, I thought they were trolling. Did any of you guys believe this at first?
I didn't believe it at all. I thought it was totally
no, I thought it was a total fake until I saw it repeated so much. So why don't you tell us what we all were caught off guard by, Dan?
Okay, here's the deal. So, they've announced that the new, the working title was Key Lime Pie, or so we thought, and even internally at Google apparently, more facts have come out. But I guess they finalized this deal in February, and they kept it a secret since then. And it didn't leak. Wow. So good for them. But basically, version 4.4 of Android is the K, because every time they put out a new major release or significant release, they have a new letter. And they're currently on, of course, Jelly Bean, J, so K's next. And it turns out that they did a deal with Nestle, which is a Swiss company. Get it? Swiss chocolate. And they own Kit Kat, worldwide rights, but they licensed them to Hershey's in the United States. So not only do they have to do a deal with Kit Kat, and this is going to come out very soon, so they've been printing labels and stuff, making these chocolate bars they're getting ready to, for a couple months, I think. And everyone kept it a secret. So I think this is, I mean, straight out of Willy Wonka. Genius PR. What do you guys think? It doesn't affect the feature set. It's just PR, you know.
I mean, I have to admit, when I saw Sundar post a picture, the first thing I did was send a message to Nate saying, does this look legit to you? Have you heard anything at all? And honestly, it looked, the picture, you're like, maybe it looks.
We were like zooming in to see, because man, it's a real. I think Nate said it's a really convincing fake. But we weren't sure. We just were like, okay, I'm totally not posting this until we're a little sure.
And then, and then Vic and Dotra repeated it, and we started seeing more and more come out. And then the official Android page commented on it, and posted links to more info. And it if it was an elaborate hoax, it was a really elaborate hoax. And Dan, we're getting some comments that you've got an echo going on right now. So, so while Dan fixes that, Nate, what are your thoughts on this naming issue? This deal.
Well, I was with you. I mean, when you messaged me, you said, have you heard anything? I said, it seemed fake to me just because it was something they'd have to license. And kind of what we've heard for a long time is they don't want to do anything where they have to license or create some sort of licensing agreement. One thing that can be said for this is that if anybody is really good at getting partners on board and creating very amicable relationships, it is Sundar Pichai. That guy he's the master at creating relationships, and he's done a really bang-up job in getting Kit Kat on board, getting 2 major worldwide companies on board, and really what we're hearing is that there's no money exchanged. So this is all kind of free and clear. This is good for everybody. And the thing I like about it is when we're on this show 6 months from now and Dan is complaining that he doesn't have Kit Kat on his Note 2, I will just send him a Kit Kat.
I thought also the timing.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I thought the timing was interesting. I think it took a little air out of the press room with all the announcements fixing to come out, tomorrow and September the 10th. I thought it was really good for that as well.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because a lot of people kind of feel that it was poor timing because now that we know about Nexus 4.4, now we know it's going to be Kit Kat. Now we can immediately start talking about fragmentation all over again.
Yes, but now we've got, I need to find this picture. We now have a great picture to go with the fragmentation story.
Right.
All of the many flavors of Kit Kat bars around the world.
It was the first thing I thought.
Kit Kat bars do fragment, right? You can break them off into little pieces and chunks.
And that's why it's 4.4. That's the perfect part about it.
Right, but Bruce, did you see the Kit Kat commercial that came out that is poking fun at certain other,
Yes.
phones and even talking about how they break, you can get the 2K version or the 4K version. It's brilliant.
I heard about it from Duke.
Duke, what's your thoughts on all of this?
I'm just like you guys. When I first heard it, I was thinking, man, there's no way it's called Kit Kat. And like I say, I agree perfectly with Nate. I was like, man, this is an elaborate hoax. And then when I started seeing Android Authority, The Verge, I was like, man, this is real. I mean, these guys are reporting this. It's got to be real. And I'm shocked, but and listen, let me tell you something. I'll tell you how it's a win. I've never been a fan of Kit Kat bars, but you know what? I am today.
There you go. I think when you think about, when it's really kind of, all chopped out, everybody really wins with this. I mean, no money was exchanged, so nobody owes anybody anything monetarily. It's a handshake deal. They've created a good relationship that, could develop into something more further. And now we talk about Kit Kats almost all the time. What do we talk about all year long? We talk about Android iterations, who's getting update. Now every time it's going to be this version of, or this phone is getting Kit Kat this, Kit Kat that. So this is just a win. I don't really like it. I wish it was a little, I don't like that it's a brand name, but it's a win.
I'm just wondering if maybe a Mars bar isn't like 2 versions away.
Laffy Taffy is next. That's what I'm calling.
Nate, you raised a concern about a brand, and that's a good point. But I think we've got to realize there are some serious advantages that that going with a worldwide recognizable brand like Kit Kat does for Android. And part of it is that it's a worldwide brand.
Absolutely.
One of the criticisms I heard about key lime pie is that nobody outside the U.S. knows what key lime pie is. It's a very U.S.-centric dessert.
Right, and it's kind of like you talked about earlier or I think Bruce mentioned it, with all the different Kit Kats. We can make all kinds of jokes about it. Well, there's green tea Kit Kat. Well, even Kit Kats have skins on them, so why do we care about TouchWiz? These kinds of things, And it's recognizable worldwide, so it's a win. I was talking with one of our writers earlier today, and we were kind of talking about fragmentation a little bit and that kind of thing. And the best thing that he said was, "You really think that any Samsung device is going to get Kit Kat anytime soon? Give me a break." And that was just brilliant.
What I think it does is there's more and more pressure. And if you guys could look at the video call and tell me if we're getting green when I'm talking, and then I'm going to listen to myself in a second, see what I'm trying to figure out what the deal is. But what it does is it's just more pressure on the manufacturers like Samsung because people are going to want this, and more and more people are becoming cognizant of what Nate's been saying the whole time, that you should buy your phone, and the Nexus 4 is a solid device, and the HTC One, the Google Play edition, was solid, and you get the updates. I mean, I got my Nexus 7, and within a day or two of the announcement, it's on my phone, on my tablet. My Samsung, no way. So yeah, that's an issue. But I like that there's great quality devices out there that have pure Android, and more people are coming into contact with them and realizing the feature problem and also the security issues with having a device that's a couple generations old.
Yeah, Dan, let me just interrupt, and I did a quick listen on your audio, and it does sound like there's still an echo. It actually sounds like I'm hearing one different thing in each ear.
Yeah,
so I don't know if that'll help you or what. Anyway, we've got this comment from Joshua. I heard many people, especially from overseas, saying they had never heard of key lime pie. Everyone knows what a Kit Kat is. And just as an aside, we're still getting confirmation you still have your echo. But and I think Josh's point is really, really great and really, really important. This is Android. This is Google and Android saying, "Hey, the world matters to us." As opposed to, the world matters to us. We're going to pick a name that means something to everybody, as opposed to certain other companies that like boasting about how they're headquartered in California, for example. Just hypothetically. And now I've got an echo. Thanks, Dan.
I think I have it licked. Can you guys confirm that it's better now? Our viewers.
We'll see if our viewers can confirm that. So unlike some companies that are located in California that are trying to boast about how they're California, and they come out with new product names that are so California-centric that the rest of the U.S. doesn't even recognize it. Here's Google doing just the opposite and saying, "Hey, we're going to cater to the world." And I think it's brilliant on so many levels.
I think the really kind of cool part for me is that, you alluded to that Cupertino company, and I always feel like they kind of take themselves a little too seriously and try to create a kind of environment which is, in my mind, a little bit elitist. I think having a branded name like KitKat, I don't like that it's a brand name, but at the same time, it really keeps it all very fun with Android, and it's kind of like Android is not taking themselves too seriously, and that's what I really like about this too.
Well, I went out and I've got 3 of these things because I figured one would not survive till showtime, and I did my little joke post about the Nexus 4 and the Nexus 7, and so now I'm all about KitKat, right? And they're going to have it is going to be just like Wonka, right? They're going to have they're going to sell a lot of KitKats because people are going to know that there's X number of them that will have a free whatever. It's just a win, man. It's smart.
Okay.
Instead of a generic jelly bean.
Here's what's really important to me, okay? Hershey's, who makes Reese cups, they make Easter eggs for Easter. They make Christmas trees for Santa Claus. I want to know if KitKat's going to make a little Android version of the KitKat bar, because I want to bite the head off of one if they do. I mean, it's like the Easter Bunny. You want to bite his ears off. I'm looking at this picture. I want to bite the head off an Android KitKat. So come on, get on it, Hershey.
Now, every product that begins with L is going to be knocking at Mountain View's door.
Mike Elgin is predicting lifesavers.
But there you go. I mean, I
think that's a bad idea, but
they've created. If that's true, let's say for the L release that somebody wants to partner with them. Now they've created a kind of a snowball effect, and maybe with the next one they'll get something out of it. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got a KitKat statue on the Google campus, which is a pretty well photographed area of that campus, and it's going to be there forever. That's posterity. So
when's the last time KitKat was in the news? You know what I mean?
There you go.
You can't get publicity like this. And they've never been in the tech news, unless it was I think in 2006 they finally got the trademark for the bar or something. That's the last time that they were in anything close to a tech, The Verge has never written about KitKat before.
One thing that I think is interestingly omitted in this entire conversation is the entire talk today has been about the name, the candy bar, a little bit about the freebies that are going to be in the bars, the promotions, the tie-ins, everything. A couple of people have stopped to say, "Hey, wait a minute, why is this version 4.4?" But only a couple of people have stopped to say that, and nobody yet has mentioned what Google and Android has made as the tagline almost on this version. When they say, "It's our goal with Android KitKat to make an amazing Android experience available for everybody." Nobody said anything about that.
Well, but are they saying everybody like we think that, or we want them to be, or is that just marketing jargon?
I don't know. Okay, now we seem to have a streaming problem. Oh, no, we're alive. Okay. Sorry, the video looked paused there for a minute, but it's okay. I don't know if they mean everybody, as in we'll actually get your 3-year-old phone that was, stuck on 2.3 finally upgraded to 4.4.
Right,
I
and
don't know
there's the
if
thing is, that's what we keep hearing is that's what this new iteration is going to do. But who knows? It could just be, that just could just be marketing jargon. Oh, we want it to be happy for everybody that can get it or whatever.
No, that's a good point. I mean, but looking at some of their previous versions that they're talking about here, 4.1 Jelly Bean. Android is fast and smooth with buttery graphics. With Google now, you get just the right information at just the right time. With Ice Cream Sandwich, their tagline they put for it was, Android comes of age with a new refined design. Simple, beautiful, and beyond smart.
And we've said before, that remains the biggest jump. Wouldn't you say?
That's when it became legitimate. That's when it became viable.
So all of these taglines, I think certainly looking backwards in retrospect, it's easy to pretty much agree with most of that. Are we going to say that 4.4 was really for everybody, or are we going to say that 4.4 was, for almost everybody?
Well, how much frustration is this going to bring with carriers? Because AT&T says we're going to pass up on 4.2 and do 4.3 now, and then they're going to say we're going to pass up on 4.3 and do 4.4, and then on and on and on it goes. The carriers are not going to be quick to roll out 4.3 now, are they?
Well, if we get our wish with this iteration, and like Alan's kind of alluding to, and what we've been hearing is that this will be good for all manner of phones. I see what you're saying in that they keep skipping iterations, and that doesn't really help the fragmentation issue. But if you had an iteration that, in a lot of ways, kind of pushed the reset button and was good for a lot of devices, a lot of that fragmentation kind of goes away.
I think it's also going to largely depend on what version they're starting from. I mean, 4.1, Android, is going to be pushing and saying, hey, the transition from 4.1 to 4.4 is an easy one. Don't, just do it. Don't worry about it too much. I think the real question is going to be is, hey, when's the Moto X going to get 4.4? Because there are people already saying, why didn't it come out with 4.3?
Right.
So forever, it's going to be. Go ahead.
4.4 KitKat.
What was that, Duke? Repeat.
Any predictions on when we're going to see KitKat?
I would say early November.
Well, what's the expiration date on this bar? If they're already making them. Oh, well, they got time. They're good. August 2014. So
hopefully it'll be before then.
Yeah, they got a year to.
I don't know, Nate. Do you really
crap out this Android?
Nate, when we say, when you say early November, do you mean early November we're actually going to see, the rumored and theoretically photographed Nexus 5 come out with it, actually on shelves, or are we going to actually start hearing about what's in this release within the next week or so with the beginnings of announcements of stuff?
Well, what we believe will happen right now is that we're going to have the same time frame for the Nexus event, which a lot of people are saying will be late October, early November, and I kind of feel that, and this is my own feelings, I don't have any information to speak to this, but I kind of feel like when they announce the device, they're going to make it available immediately. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
Well, then here's the question: why are they announcing this so far ahead? I mean, when Jelly Bean came out, it was announced. The statue showed up the morning it was released. Yeah, there were a couple of days rumor. There was a couple of days rumors that it was going to be coming out, like the Jelly Beans that were being shipped into the Moscone Center, but Jelly Bean itself came out that day. That was 4.1. 4.3, when it came out only a month ago, it was they announced it, and it was showing up on phones within 48 hours. So why are they teasing us with this, with the statue, with the announcement that 4.4 exists as 4.4, but yet it has a whole new code name? Why are they teasing all of this now, and we're not going to hear anything more for 2 months?
Well, my guess would be that has a lot to do with partnerships. If, let's say, they did announce it at the time they announced the new Nexus 4 or 5 or whatever it's going to be, and then let's say they have, the watch that we kind of keep hearing about over and over and over. They're working on it. They're doing something. So let's say they have, a Nexus 5 and a watch, and then maybe something else. The fact that it's KitKat is going to kind of get lost in the shuffle. By doing it now, all we've been talking about all day is KitKat this, KitKat that. This is the partnership. No money's exchanging hands, blah, 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 blah. We've now spent the first 20 minutes of our show or whatever talking about KitKat. I think this has a lot to do with the partnership and them kind of acknowledging that KitKat, Hershey's, Nestle are important partners in this game.
We actually have this interesting comment from Joshua pointing out that Halloween candy is on the shelves right now. And so there's going to be a lot of Android KitKat bars handed out in 2 months. So is that going to be part of it? That's a good point and a good question.
That is a good point.
And does your answer segue into our next topic about the Nexus 4? Anything else on KitKat before we move on?
I just want to say I think KitKats are delicious.
I mean, if you're going to buy a candy bar, obviously that's the one you'd buy, right? It's like gets back to the Cracker Jack when Bruce and I were kids. You'd actually get a toy in the Cracker Jack. It was a big deal.
Dan, do you really want to compare Android to a Cracker Jack? Really?
That's even.
Do you really want to compare Android to a Cracker Jack toy? Think about that for a minute.
Well, there'll be varying levels of prizes, right? Some of these you might win a X amount of money in the Google Play Store, and somebody might get a Nexus 7 or Glass when that comes out. We don't know. It's not just Nexus devices that they can give away. They could give away a $2 coupon for an app.
Maybe they're going to have golden tickets and KitKats, and you get to tour the Android, the Google campus. Oh, man.
My sister's next book.
I'm doing that. KitKats are delicious. I love KitKats. Give me a ticket.
So yeah,
KitKats are delicious.
You're kind of on a roll, Nate.
They're delicious. Everyone should have a KitKat today. Celebrate.
I have 3. Okay, so what's the next thing, Alan?
Well, the segue that Nate kind of started pointing out is that, now that we have a new operating system, we need a new flagship device for it. And as part of that, we had the Nexus 4s went on sale at $100 off. And now it appears that the Nexus 4 8GB model is sold out, with rumors saying that it's not going to be back in stock ever. So I'm kind of, my first reaction to that is, are they really going to be out of stock until a hypothetical Nexus 4S or a Nexus 5 come out, whenever that will be? Who knows when that will be? I see Nate nodding. Go ahead, Nate.
Well, you got to understand the 8 gigabytes out of sale too, and that was always the kind of, what is this phone even doing here phone? Everybody, 8 gigabytes, that's a joke. 16 gigabytes is, barely good enough. So the fact that they sold out of the 8 gigabytes and are not replacing them, that doesn't surprise me at all. They may have a whole bunch of 16 gigabytes, which are still available. They obviously have the Google Play Edition devices, which is not a Nexus device, and I'm not saying you should substitute that for a Nexus device, especially in terms of your pocketbook. But who knows how many 16 gig devices they have. I remember I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. I wanted to get a Galaxy Nexus device for a family member, and I literally waited a day too late. And I contacted Google to see if I could somehow get a Galaxy Nexus, and I was told, they're gone. We don't know where they are. They are just absolutely gone. Disappeared into the ether. They would not sell me one under any circumstances.
Interesting. So,
and there's no way that they have them for sale one day and the next day they are somehow gone. There's none available. So the fact that they're not replenishing them and trying to run down their stock as much as possible doesn't surprise me.
What version of Android was that?
Galaxy Nexus when it came out.
Galaxy Nexus was the flagship device for 4.0, but it was also the first one to get 4.1 day and date. True. I mean, when they were giving it out at I/O last year, And when I opened mine up, the first thing it did was upgrade to 4.1.
Was 4.1 ICS or 4.0 was ICS?
4.0 was ICS. 4.1 was the first Jelly Bean.
So they're on 4.4 and the 11th letter of the alphabet. So they typically will do 3 different. What do you even call this? Is this called a significant upgrade, or it's not a 5.0? You know what I mean? What's the terminology?
The fact that they're upgrading the letter suggests that this is really major, but the number upgrade doesn't suggest that. So that's part of what I'm trying to figure out. Why the change? What's really new here? What's the big deal?
Well, how many little fingers are in a Kit Kat bar?
Yeah, 4.
4. 4 Kit Kat.
I mean, so we're essentially saying that we're now releasing version numbers based on marketing.
If you're gonna sell out, go all the way, baby.
So we won't be buying the Nexus 4 8 gig version ever again, says Nate.
Ever again, and I don't blame them for doing that.
What is our original Nexus 7, Alan? Is it 16 or 8?
8. Not available.
Mainly I use it as a book reader. I use it as a Kindle. And of course my Note 2 is scratched, or cracked.
Considering that's what they sold it to be, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I love it. It's great for the can. All right. Next, I guess, Microsoft's buying Nokia for 7.2. Or are we done with the...
Yeah, we're done. You know, the funny thing is, this was the story of the day. This was the mobile story of the day, was Microsoft buying up half of Nokia and getting a permanent contract on the rest of it. This was going to be the story of the day, and suddenly this whole Kit Kat thing comes out.
Are they buying Nokia, or are they buying Nokia's patents? What are they after?
They're buying Nokia.
But I mean, what are they really buying? You know what I mean? What are they after?
They don't need Nokia's patents. They're buying a hardware manufacturer because they need somebody to actually manufacture a Microsoft phone, because nobody else in their right mind will. I mean, yes, they get their patents. That's, not a bad thing. But they already had, Microsoft has a huge patent portfolio already. That was not a major move on their part. They are, and in fact, I think they are actually buying the patent portfolio. That's part of the deal. But other significant elements that Nokia has, in particular their mapping software, Microsoft isn't buying that. They're just getting a 10-year license for it with Microsoft's option to renew indefinitely. There's other elements to the deal, like Microsoft is floating Nokia alone, and oh yeah, the CEO for Nokia is getting a demotion, is moving over to the hardware platform, and is joining Microsoft. Funny how that's happening. And oh yeah, that's the guy who negotiated the deal for Nokia to get all of, to run Windows OS. And oh yeah, he used to work for Microsoft. Funny how that happens.
They were king of feature phones, right? But they never. Then the iPhone came out.
Nokia was king. Period. They were the They were the cell phone manufacturer.
They were absolutely it. Sony Ericsson created a little bit of noise, but it was a Nokia world we were living in.
I think all of us owned a Nokia at some point when they were, flip phones and stuff. And then I guess the iPhone was the beginning of the end for them. And then
BlackBerry kind of was.
Yeah, they never could really capitalize on the Symbian operating system, and they had some really nice hardware phones though. I remember one that looked like a candy bar phone on top, and then it would hinged, and it had a long display, and that's how you would surf the internet, was through that display. It was probably a poor design, but hardware-wise, at its for its time, it was a pretty cool device.
What parallels, Nate, Alan, or whoever, Bruce, do you draw between RIM, Research in Motion in Canada, and Nokia?
Well, I think this actually tells RIM that their hopes of being bought by Microsoft have just fallen to pretty close to zero.
Because Nokia was to the consumer what RIM was to government and enterprise, right?
Well, I think
they were both kings, and they both fallen from grace.
I think there are notable comparisons between the two. Both were much better known for their hardware than their software, and both had at least one really, really crucial piece of software that is still carrying them along. In Nokia's case, it's their mapping software. In BlackBerry's case, it's the BlackBerry Messenger. If it wasn't for those two pieces of software, both companies would be dead right now.
Nate, your reaction, I saw your article today, we linked to it, your reaction was sort of meh.
I think it's significant. I think as it relates to Android, it's very not significant. The kind of point I made was we've seen what these two companies, Nokia and Microsoft, did when they were very close partners. The fact that they are now it's just Microsoft. That really, I think, is kind of Alan talked about, is Microsoft needs somebody to make their hardware. I mean, you have HTC's devoted about 25% of their smartphone lineup to Windows Phone, and Samsung has a device here and there. Those are really kind of feel-out devices. Those are more like, well, we'll dip our toe in and see how Windows Phone does for us. Maybe HTC had the best Windows Phone and people fell in love with it. At that point, they would probably devote more time and effort to it, but that didn't really happen. Nobody really sold a Windows Phone outside of Nokia. The thing was, Microsoft got they got a licensing royalty from each Nokia phone sold, which they said was under $10, about $8. And now that they own Nokia and own the hardware division, they're going to get all of that revenue. So this really works out for them in that respect. But again, as it relates to Android, this is really, it can only be beneficial. Now you've got OEMs that have every reason in the world to say, you know what, we're just not going to really worry about Windows Phone. We don't know what's going on. The biggest Windows Phone manufacturer just got absorbed by Microsoft, and that's, if I'm Peter Chow at HTC or at Samsung, that's going to kind of make me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, but to the same token, though, if you were Samsung and you just saw the number 3 Android manufacturer get swallowed up by Google, what would your reaction be? Well, gee, that's exactly what happened, isn't it?
That is what happened, and they turned around and made an absolutely fantastic phone.
Which they?
Series of phone, Motorola.
Well, but what did Samsung do?
What Samsung always does. They just saturated the market with absolutely everything.
So, okay, to draw an analogy, I remember when I guess Coke is bigger than Pepsi, but Pepsi was a bigger company because they bought Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut. But what happened was other restaurant chains that compete with those 3 restaurants wouldn't stock Pepsi because they were helping their restaurant competition. Like McDonald's is Coca-Cola. They're not going to put Pepsi in a McDonald's because they would be helping those 3 other restaurant chains. So PepsiCo ended up selling off or spinning off those, is it Yum or whatever it is? Because they were having PR problems. How come we're not seeing, there was talk about that with Google when it initially came out with the Nexus phone, that they were alienating carriers and manufacturers, but then they bought Motorola to much fanfare, and then now Microsoft is buying Nokia. Is it because people just, are there any correlations there? Does this, I mean, are either of these companies paying a price long term or short term by kind of competing with their vendors in a way?
I think Google's approach, has been both to simultaneously launch the Nexus line, but in every Nexus, there's been no Nexus phone that's been made by Google. It's been made by a partner. And I think that's one way that they've kind of mollified their whole partner base. The other is that I think, as I kind of alluded to, they only bought the number 3 manufacturer. They didn't buy the number 1 manufacturer. They didn't buy Samsung. So, they're providing competition and pressure, but they're not really providing a threat. And let's face it, as much as those of us here like Nexus devices, the penetration of the Nexus devices in the market out there is...
It's not even 1%, I don't think, is it? Like 0.5%?
It's, it's probably bigger than 0.5%, but it's not very large. It's no more than single digit percentages, that's for sure.
That's going to change because Kit Kat is coming. I swear to God, I don't think this extra one's going to make it through the show. Because I was looking at this damn chocolate bar all day, all freaking day, and I'm looking at Alan, and I'm looking at Kit Kat. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm going to try. I'm going to make an effort. Any other thoughts from Bruce or Duke or whoever on whatever the hell we're talking about? Nokia?
Nokia. You might remember them. They used to make cell phones.
Yeah, I don't feel well right now, and I just had to deal with the local town council and some guy angry about a black bear in his neighborhood, and I was sick the whole time.
And you've eaten how many Kit Kat bars?
I haven't eaten any. I got the extra one. See, I got 2 Nexus 4s, figuring that one would not last, and I needed my prop for my funny picture. So anyway,
will we see Nokia make a Surface tablet? Do you think? Or will Microsoft still use a third-party vendor?
Well, Microsoft has Nokia's hardware division, so I don't think you'll ever see a Nokia branded piece of hardware again. But that's interesting. I don't know if Nokia was working on a tablet or how that's really going to shape out. That's a good question.
That's a good question. And actually, Nate, I'm not sure I agree. I think you'll continue to see these Nokia branded.
Maybe they should have bought a computer recycling company so that when they dump all these RTs, they could cut out the middleman, and they could actually dismantle them internally and lose slightly less, maybe like 800 million instead of $1 billion.
Nate, we were talking brand recognition before, and right now Microsoft has no brand recognition when it comes to cell phones. But Nokia has a very strong brand recognition when it comes to cell phones worldwide. So it really wouldn't surprise me if they kept the Nokia brand name on the phones.
Yeah, I think it would be smart for them to transition somehow, have the Nokia, a Microsoft brand kind of label for a while, and then I don't think that they'll keep Nokia long term. I think eventually they'll just go full Microsoft, but I think that would be smart.
It's a valuable brand name, isn't it, still? It's got a lot, as far as name ID?
Especially in Europe.
So, okay, so Microsoft, bought Nokia, and Android Authority was all excited about it. Not really. Okay, so Nate, you also said another thing hardware-wise, right? This battery packs, and this is an issue because some of the phones don't have, like my Samsung phone has a removable battery. The Nexus 7, I guess, does it? I don't know. The damn thing lasts so long, I've never even looked.
It's interesting part about this is that, Sony's obviously, they always make really nice stuff, and these are 2 really nice battery packs, 5,000 and 10,000 milliamp battery packs. The 5,000 has 1 port, 10,000 has 2 ports, which is good because you can charge your phone and a tablet. In terms of performance, these are pretty run-of-the-mill. They're fairly competitively priced. They're right around, they're only available in India right now, but they're $42 and $72, if you do the conversion. So that's not really terribly priced. They are aluminum. They're really nice. The interesting part about this is Sony's really, they seal all their batteries, and obviously their phones are kind of waterproof, HTC One sealed. The only ones that are kind of really dedicated to doing removable backplates anymore is Samsung. Which kind of leaves the rest of the world, in terms of higher-end smartphones, and especially as we progress, everybody, a lot of phones are going to have sealed batteries, and that's kind of a concern.
What's the reason for that, Nate? Because I remember all the heat Apple caught when that guy painted the iPod's non-removable battery dies after 18 months, and there was he was stenciling this all over San Francisco or somewhere, and it was a big tech story went viral, and they ended up like doing something where that you can pay $50 or whatever, because they said no, you buy another iPod, and the guy's like, no, screw you. How come there isn't pushback now over this issue? Out of curiosity, or I mean, you have a phone that doesn't have a removable battery. Is it just? Do you worry that at some point, it's going to be a 10-minute charge because it's just old, or by then you'll have a new phone, so you don't care?
I definitely do, and I've actually noticed, a slightly diminished battery life, and with the phone, the longer I have it, it is a concern. Like I said before, this phone I had the Galaxy Nexus, which had a removable backplate, and I could swap out batteries. But then the problem with that became I had to have like 5 extra batteries with me because I was always on the go and doing things, and I'm swapping batteries out all day. So it's half a dozen, 1/6 of the other in a lot of respects. I think what they really should be focusing on is battery technology. The reason a lot of companies do it now is really just design and build of the phone. Obviously, Sony's got their devices are waterproof. The HTC One is obviously just wanted to be aluminum and stealthy and pretty, and the Nexus 4 was just kind of going for their thing too.
So we need Elon Musk to come out with a freaking phone, because that battery would kick butt.
We need him to come out with a battery, yes.
Yeah, he needs to make a little tiny Tesla phone. Okay, so that's a neat little device. We'll have to get Sreek to order us some, or Vic. Okay, so this is something I'm really, really excited about, and so why don't you talk about the QX leak? And I guess the video leaked today. First, I'll show this on my screen while you talk, Nate. If you want to kind of intro these really cool looking lenses, and kind of what is it? It's a whole new thing. It's like a camera. It's like you're buying a self-contained lens that will store media, and you don't need to buy the actual camera. Because really the glass is where the money, I mean, the back, I have a Canon 1D Mark IIN from 06, and the back is kind of like what you replace, but you keep your 30 to 70 millimeter and your 70 to 200, $1,800 lens. You keep that and put that on the new camera. So this kind of, you don't need, basically your phone is your back for a higher end lens. So tell us what's going on here, because this is finally, we know is really real, because you got the evidence to show.
Yeah, when we absolutely first heard about these lenses, it was a very crude render that came from, I think it was Sony Alpha Rumors, which does obviously a lot of Sony info, and we got this. It was a really crude kind of, looked like just a terrible Photoshop image, and we just immediately said this is nonsense. And then we kind of kept hearing about him, and then recently, in the past couple of weeks, we've been getting some very nice screenshots of, the lenses themselves. These lenses are, like you said, they're basically just clip-on lenses to your device. They are said to be powered by NFC with your device. That's how the link to the device. So I shouldn't say powered by. That's how the link to the device. They will have their own battery, but it's very interesting. You can use it, as the video shows. You can use it as a kind of camera onto your phone. You can take it off and take pictures that way. Kind of in the video, takes the lens off and like sticks it through a wall because he sees a cat or something like that.
How close do you think it has to be? Because the video implies that he took the cat picture, right? When the device was not. But isn't NFC almost got to be touching? It's not like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi,
yeah,
right?
but NFC is just used for basic pairing. It's not going to be used for serious data transfer.
Because the data isn't being transferred. It's stored on the... That's
right.
the genius of this.
NFC is not used for data transfer. It's just used so two devices can say, okay, we'll talk to each other. And then, they might use NFC to coordinate the fact that they're going to do further communication via Bluetooth or via Wi-Fi or via some other, setup.
So likely you're controlling... NFC is, I guess, more of a security feature than anything. It establishes the connection, almost like a dongle, to use certain kind of software programs. And then it's probably using Bluetooth to actually be the controller, but it's not transmitting the video and data to the phone. It's storing it on the lens. Your phone is your back, your camera, sort of.
We're hearing Bluetooth. There's more to it than that I can't say right now.
See,
I have to be very careful about what I say right now. But yeah, they basically hook onto your camera. They have varying kind of zoom and aperture and things like that. But in terms of taking really good shots, these are kind of a dream come true. The way we understand it right now, the rumor is they're basically going to work with an app that you can have on just about any phone. So you can kind of get these lenses, they're really great lenses, and you can then keep getting new phones as you see fit. Obviously, Sony also has, you see in the video, they have, we kind of talk about a case, which I assume is going to be for their new Xperia Z1. That's the only thing that makes sense. It's obviously going to be proprietary to their devices, but that's a case. Otherwise, it just has like a clip that links on attaches to your phone, and somehow that lens attaches onto that clip. So you could leave that clip on there if you're, out and about and just want to take some cool pictures around the city or whatever's going on.
Do we have any word what the size of the sensor is on the lens?
I'm looking at the video now. I think it says it's Carl Zeiss, which
the
is no
QX
joke.
100, which is the larger one, says Carl Zeiss. The other one just says G Lens.
Okay, I'm seeing it says Wi-Fi certified.
Right, and all that tells us is the quality of the optic. What it doesn't tell us is what the quality of the sensor is. So, and
It's
that,
in Exmor. Yeah, it doesn't say like how many megapixels it is, but I mean, once you get above a
not
certain
even
level,
megapixels. It's there's been a big trend in photography in DSLRs and other similar devices to shrink the size of the sensor as much as possible, and it would make sense to do so in this case as well. But
it
in
says
general,
a 1.0 type
the smaller
Exmor.
the sensor, even if you're cramming as many megapixels onto it, the fact that you've got a smaller sensor means you have a lower quality picture. It's not just the number of pixels, it's the quality of the sensor. And that's going to be the big question.
Size matters with the sensor. I mean, I don't care. If you compare my Vixia, which is like a $700 camera from 3 years ago, or whatever, and you compare that to my Note 2, if the lighting is perfect, my Note 2 it does a good job, like an iPhone would do a good job. But there's no comparison to that, which you get from a real camera, real video. The sensor is small.
And they've done great things with Micro Four Thirds formats, but they had to do a lot of work to get those sensors to behave nearly as well as the DSLR. So I'm curious what the sensor is actually going to be on this.
So I wonder if one day, Nate, will we even need a camera on our phone?
I think you're always going to have it. I don't think that people.
But there won't be a race to have the best, fanciest camera, because the people who give a damn about that, like you or Craig Shipp, are going to get this.
Right. I think what you'll see, I think in a lot of terms, what you're going to see is things like camera phones, even all hardware in general. But I think that cameras also, you're going to start seeing a bit of a plateau. You look at the Sony Xperia Z1 that's coming out. That's rumored to have like a 20 megapixel camera. Obviously, you have the Lumia, I want to say 900, I don't know what it was, but the Lumia that had like the 40 megapixel shooter on it, that's all well and good, but let's be honest, I've never really taken a photo with my Nexus 4 and expected some sort of, high quality photo that I could blow up into a poster, and I think that for around town, 20 megapixels is going to be absolutely fine.
And
even
also,
less
at some
than that.
point, I mean, these are large files. You don't want it too big. You're not
Right, you
making
don't
a
want it too
freaking
big.
billboard. You don't want to hog your car. If you go to I/O or something, you don't want to have to keep going back to your laptop and dumping stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, like these are lightweight. They're easy to tote around. And you got things like Moto X, like their Clear Pixel, or HTC One with their Ultra Pixel, these kind of things. The software is kind of carrying the load of, where there's a shortage in megapixels.
So I am totally stoked for this. I can't wait to see on Friday Craig Shipp, who's an excellent photographer, to get his take on this. And we don't know, right? Or I guess you can't say, I don't know, maybe I'm not allowed to say you can't say, but we don't know if this is a proprietary Sony thing or if it'll work with other...
Oh, we won't know until tomorrow. Sony has their big announcement for all their stuff at IFA tomorrow. That's when we expect to hear more about this. We don't really know. Like I said, because there's that clip, I'm gonna say that it'll attach to any device and thus will work with an app. But they've made no overtures that these are going to be kind of proprietary things.
In other words, the best experience will be on a Sony, but you may be able to use it on something else.
Absolutely.
Okay, because it's a device they can sell to a whole lot more people if it's not proprietary.
Right.
I'm not buying a Sony phone. You're not buying a Sony phone. Why lock out iOS and Android people? Or, I'm sorry, Xperia's Android, but like the people who want the Nexus experience and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So, speaking of Nexus experiences, I guess we've added the Nexus 5. Is this a rumor?
This was a screen grab from a video that was posted by a lot of people, including the Android Google Plus page. It was the unveiling of the statue, the Kit Kat statue, on the Google campus. In that video, it shows, and you can kind of see it in the article, it's the lead image, is a guy standing next to a girl. She's got the Nexus 4. He's got a device that says Nexus in landscape mode, much like the Nexus 7, but it's clearly not a Nexus 7, which leads everybody to kind of believe that that may be the new Nexus 5. It's a bit bigger than the Nexus 4, but because it looks a lot like the Nexus 7, and it's smaller than the Nexus 7, feels like it's the Nexus 5. And then Android, Google, whoever, went ahead and made the video private, so something's up there.
That's a big phone, yeah.
Wait. Is this the man who's got the fabulous Note 2 phablet talking about this being a big phone?
I mean, it's bigger than 4.
It's a little bit bigger than the 4. It looks a little slimmer. Honestly, it just kind of looks like a smaller...
How come there's no N on Nexus? It's an X's phone.
I don't know. That's what I thought that too. It might just be lighting, or it might be a different kind of, I don't know.
Let's give it the same run through we did with Sundar's when we thought Sundar was trolling us with the Kit Kat thing. It appears to be missing the N. I mean, it looks like a prototype, I guess.
It could be missing the N, or it could just be like, like I said, the light's not catching it right or something. It looks like something's there to me. Who knows?
You think they're trolling us?
I don't think that let's put it this way. I don't think that was an accident. I don't think anytime you see anything like that, it's an accident.
It's a deliberate.
Why they turned around and made it private, the video private, though, I don't know.
But you probably know secret stuff you're not going to tell us, right?
On this
Especially
one, I really don't.
About the Sony thing you do. You're probably writing this 15-page article that you getting it.
Yeah, I could tell you a whole lot about Sony and Samsung right there.
Okay, but we'll find out. When's Samsung's thing?
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow as well. Sony and Samsung.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Busy week. All upstaged by Kit Kat. But everyone will be going to be talking about Samsung and Sony crap for the next 2 weeks, so it was good to get it out earlier. Any other thoughts on the Nexus 5? Okie doke. So next up is
Our recommended apps of the week.
Alan Firstenberg. What app do you wish to recommend to our viewers?
Little background on this one. Nate and I had been having a conversation about educational software last week, and I was bemoaning the horrible, horrible state of educational software on Android. Mostly that a lot of it was just kind of drill and kill, which has been criticized as bad software for 20, 30 years now. And I was browsing around for some educational software, and I stumbled across this one, which is in some ways drill and kill, but other ways it's a very clever approach towards teaching some very basic math skills. So what I will be showing is an app called Enjoy Learning Edition Puzzle. Really clever name. But what some of these sample screen images will show you is that kind of the objective of the game, and it's a game, is that you'll have a number shown up on top, and you need to drag your finger along the tiles to add up to this number. So in this case, the person's goal was to get the number 9. They dragged from a 1, a 4, and a 4, totals 9. Easy for us, but if you think about it, this is kind of an interesting way to teach very very simple concept in a very clever, game-oriented way. And I was watching a child actually trying to play it this weekend, and it took him a while to get it, but once he did, he really got into the concept of, this isn't not thinking about it as adding stuff up, but that's the objective, is that's what you're doing in this game, is trying to connect tiles. And the tiles need to connect in a certain way. So, again, the name of that is Enjoy Learning Addition Puzzle. My recommended app of the week.
Excellent. Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Yeah, my recommended app of the week is an app called Drippler. Now, what Drippler has done is they've come up with, and what you're looking at now on my screen is the Ultimate Galaxy Note 2 app. They also have the Ultimate Galaxy S3 app, the Ultimate Galaxy S4 app. And what this does is it will send me twice a day or more whatever the latest information, news about apps, about the Galaxy Note 2, about accessories for the Galaxy Note 2, so that I can, just know about it. And so I'll give you just a little section here using AirDroid, but you can, you have your drips, and you can have, news and tips, or you can look at just information about apps, or you can look at information about games, and then you can sort it by recent or top. So it's a good way, and it makes a little drip sound, and when I hear that little sound, I automatically bring down my notifications and go see what the latest information about this fabulous, as Alan said, phone device. So my recommended app of the week is Drippler, or Ultimate Galaxy Note 2.
Excellent.
I like it.
I'm sorry, who's... Oh, I thought somebody was weighing in. Okay, I actually don't have one. I have a splitting headache, and I had to cover the town council government meeting for the newspaper today. So,
and your stomach's a little sick from all the Android bars you ate. I mean, from all the Kit Kat bars you ate. Wow.
Yeah, they're only 1.5 ounces. I remember when these came out.
Delicious.
So, I have her.
So, Duke, what is your recommended app?
I was going to
of the
say,
week?
check out the actual native Twitter app if you use Twitter, because they just updated it, and I've heard good things about whatever they did. Because a lot of people switched to like other things, and then, so. Duke Carico.
All right. I was trying to think today if I've done this app early on. I can't recall. Weatherbug Elite. I know I have mentioned it on the show before, but a lot of weather apps that I've used in the past, they're very animated. They're pretty to look at, but they're not really what I need in a weather app. And I've tried a bunch of them. I really like this one. The Elite version's $3. The free version includes everything that you get on the Elite version. You just get some advertising. This particular one in the Play Store has been rated 5 and a piece of 4 and a piece of the 5th star. 48,376 reviews on it, and I really do like this app. Let's see if I can show you here what I'm talking about. Let's see. Right here, I get a notification. By the way, if lightning is in the area, then what I will get is it'll give me warnings that, and tell me how many miles away that lightning is striking, and it does take a second to load up here. Oh, I've got I took a new man, did you see that? Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time. If not, I'm gonna move on. I did take an update this afternoon on it. I believe it's gonna launch this time. Okay, it's got now. If I want a 7-day forecast, you can kind of see what it looks there. I'm going to say no. 7-day forecast. What I really like about it, it's got great animation on the radar, and it's really just a complete weather app. It doesn't have a lot of fluff. but it can give you what you need about the weather in a hurry. That's Weatherbug Elite. Nate, what have you got for us, man?
I just want to say that in piecing together the news today about what's going on with Android, I just want to say that Kit Kats are delicious. They're good for you. Chocolate is delicious. It's good for you. And while you're waiting to get your Kit Kat,
That's
you
awesome.
get a Kit Kat jigsaw puzzle because I was piecing things together all day. So now you can piece things together about Kit Kat. Kit Kats come in a variety of flavors. Chocolate, wafers. It's delicious and it's good for you and you should have it.
Mental note, Nate is obviously paid on a salary, not by the word. He's playing some freaking puzzle app all day. Hey, total immersion in Android. That's his job.
Hey, this is research.
It was research. And you do a poor Southern accent. You haven't been in the South?
Have I been in the South?
Yeah.
Yeah, once. For moonshine.
Trying to be a redneck and you can't.
Oh, you need to come hang out with me for about a week, Nate. I'll have you drinking moonshine and spitting tobacco. We'll have a big time.
You can
Let's
stand.
do it.
I'm out here in the woods. My backyard's a state park. I can stand out there in my boxer shorts and shoot cans all day long. Nobody cares. Nobody knows.
While you're eating Kit Kats.
Absolutely.
And just the thought of that, Dan, is terrifying to us.
You're getting a
so let's
visual,
move
yeah.
on.
You're the only one who's gone naked on Google Plus out of this whole panel, Mr. Firstenberg.
Well then.
So anyway, we'll be back at our, not our new time, but our adjusted time because they keep trolling us. I think it's Dory is doing this deliberately to sabotage the program. Our dear friend Dory is the bearer of bad news, but it's not her doing. Last week they had YouTube scheduled maintenance, and next week they have it again, and it starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and goes for 3 hours. So those of us who can make it, hopefully most of us, if not all, we'll be back next week, Tuesday at 9 p.m. for another Our Android Week. We'll have lots of stuff about the Samsung thing and the Sony thing, and I'm going to try to get Nate to tell us all the secrets if we go off the record after we're done. But I can't tell anybody, so I'm just kidding. But also Google Plus Week, lots to talk about there. That's Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thanks to the panel. Thank you all for watching. Have I covered everything, Alan? I'll hopefully be in better spirits next week. I don't feel good.
Yeah, more or less. We had a bunch of people asking questions, which we'll try to hit up later. So, people asking about the all-cast on the fabulous Note 2. And Rich talking about how he actually followed your advice for once and now has questions. So Dan will be getting to post-haste on all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
In the
I'll
meantime,
answer that.
thank you for joining us.
Sure. Feel free to, you can hit me up privately or I'll look at your questions there. I'm just out of it. I'm exhausted and have a splitting headache and blah, blah, blah. But enough about me. So anyway, thank you folks so very much for tuning in tonight, and we'll be back Tuesday, special time next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, for another exciting Our Android Week. Until then, have a Kit Kat. See you later. Thanks. Yep. It's been about like 10 years since I've eaten one of these things. But I'm since Nate got to do research on a puzzle, I'm going to do research on the next version of Android. See you guys.